Cool. Do you want to say just a quick introduction, just say a quick hello?
Yeah, I'm ready. Just I can make a share screen and make our presentation, which we usually do to our friends who are helping us in our activities towards Ukraine. And I have a last presentation that on last Tuesday, we presented to hundreds of Rotarians from 7 clubs, but it was not online, but physically with Governor of District 2041 of Milano, which was helping us a lot. And we presented what we have done and what is possible to be done. When it started, we started very simple way because Warsaw was crowded and the Warsaw train stations and stadiums were crowded with the refugees from Ukraine. So everything was necessary there. And our club even engaged in cooking just boiling soups and delivering these soups and feeding people at the station. But then we created a special shelter, which was the House of Pilgrims in the small village where I live. And we convinced our local priest that it can be converted into the permanent refugee center. And now there is around 40 women and children living there, having in relatively good conditions because they have 5 to 7 person room. The major what we continuously supply is food, because in many areas of Ukraine, you cannot send money to Kiev and expect that they will buy themselves food. There is a shortage of foods. Of course, they have enormous number of wheat that has to be exported, but you cannot feed people just with wheat. You have to supply them some canned food, macaroni. We delivered also a lot of instant soups, which are the best food what you can deliver to the people which have no electricity, we have no water, just so that they can boil in a metal mug half a liter of water, add instant soup and have a good meal just instantly. This was we have shipped as a club around, I think, 50,000 instant soups. This was what we were able to deliver. And these pictures are showing loading a truck from truck on the right side, because partly we delivered not directly by truck to Ukraine, but we delivered to the terminal in the Polish border where the goods were loaded to the trains. What we more and more also delivered to Ukraine. On the right side, you can see the picture I found in one of the issues of The Guardian. It was a picture of people waiting in line in front of the shop for delivery of bread or something there, but everyone was taking occasion to load their telephones with power generator, which were just 2 plugs and then many plugs and power banks and telephones joined. And this is what our friends from Ukraine are telling. This is what we really need. And we purchased till now 30 such power generators. What we also supply, it is we have an agreement with the British company that is supplying to Ukraine free of charge hospital beds. The official statistics is telling that more than 1,500 up to 2,000 hospital beds have been lost and damaged during the war, because also hospitals were targeted by Russian missiles. So we are helping in this way these hospital beds, and you must remember the hospital beds in Western standard in Australia, in UK or in Western Europe they are modern and new. The hospital beds, which are still used in Ukraine, some of them, they are 40 or 50 years old, and this with hardly possible for a patient to lie on them. And we supply additionally from Poland mattresses for these hospital beds, because you cannot recycle mattresses and you cannot move mattresses from one hospital to another due to the pollution and due to the bacteria which are in one hospital are resistant to medicaments and so on. So this is not recommended and never used. So what we also have done, we purchased till now 2, but last week was 3rd ambulance, which we delivered to Ukraine, because during the war, many of the ambulances have been just shot, damaged, or there were, due to the lack of components, completely out of use. So we managed to buy 3 ambulances, mark them with the sponsoring club logos and Rotary logo, and such 3rd ambulance will be delivered to Zaporozhye. This is the list of our beneficiaries, what we are supplying and doing, but it is much needs updates nearly every week, because shipments we are doing are nearly every week. At this moment, only from Italy. This is the presentation I made last week in Milano, but so only from Milano there were 7 clubs that helped us, but we had many other clubs, among these York King Cross Australia club that has transferred some money to help in our programs. At this moment, we have made such calculation that it was collected to our in zlotys and euro, 111,000 euro on our account. We spent 81, but it's now much more, because we have spent also cost of new ambulance, which was half sponsored by district disaster fund. And so we have spent additional 17,000 euro as a part of the cost of the new ambulance to our club, but also we have to cover costs, for example, of freight of the medicaments from Milano to Warsaw and further to Kryvyi Rog. Our projects are only for June-July period. These 17,000 for ambulance have been already spent, but we need 5,000 for power generators. We need for food at least 15,000 euro. Where we have for maintenance of this refugee center, we need to sponsor just sometimes daily costs, like delivery of chemicals for washing machines, or covering cost of water and heat, or the internet connection to these, just the daily spending, or electricity that is used in this refugee center. We plan to purchase for around 6,000 new lot of mattresses, and new program that appeared recently, which during the conference we had in Lublin, where there were around 15 Rotarians from Ukraine arrived, and they were telling us stories that in the eastern part of Ukraine, even in the areas that were liberated by Ukrainian army, the infrastructure is completely damaged. They have no water, they have no potable water, and the best help we can do this is to supply them water filters. And there are existing suppliers of the water filters that can clean any wood, of course not salt wood or seawater, but any water directly from the pond or any source, if it is with some bacteria and so, it's fully purified, and such a filter costs 25 bucks or less than 25 bucks, and we can and it assures potable water for whole family for 1 day, and it can be used 2, 3 or more years constantly. Such filters have been developed probably in 70s or 80s when for American Army in areas like Vietnam or then Afghanistan, where for potable water. So we plan to collect money for water filters. And what is very, very necessary here in helping Ukraine is to help Ukrainian women being here to have possibility to integrate and to have a job, so that they have some form of self-maintenance. But the problem with job is language. Ukrainian language, we can understand each other briefly, but it's difficult to be fully employed without a basic knowledge of the language. So we are now in the process of implementing online lessons of Polish language for Ukrainian refugees here. This will be for children, that they will continue to go to the Polish schools, and that for women or other people who can having basic Polish language knowledge, they will be able to be employed. And for them, learning Polish language will be much, much easier than to learn German or English, because Polish and Ukrainian are Slavic languages. So it means they are easy to be learned by any age refugees that are with us here.